Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gravestone Pros here in North Country Memorials. I am so glad that you're joining us today. I told you last week I was going to talk a bit about ChatGPT and that I've been using it a lot. And boy, I've got some cool stuff and I think you're going to like it. So it's going to be a good one. Come along. First thing I want to talk about is ChatGPT. And when people hear that and they hear AI, I think they kind of check out, or they're like, it's taking over the world. I don't like it. It's too much. It's going to make everybody jobless, this and that. So I want to start out by saying there's some things ChatGPT cannot do. It cannot sit with the families that come into my office and take care of them and listen to them on a human level and connect and care about them in their stories. It doesn't have that ability. It doesn't sandblast monuments. It doesn't put stencils on. It doesn't call cemeteries to make sure that the foundation is going to fit and that there's enough room, and that if grandpa's got a stone there, there's enough room for the grandson to be buried next to him. It doesn't do a lot of stuff. It doesn't interface with the families and let them know when the stone is done and it is there, and let them know, hey, everything's taken care of. There's many things that chat will not do, cannot do. It's not going to replace anybody. It might make your job better. It might make it easier, quicker, and might make you better at it, but it cannot replace you. A quick example of something I've been doing just for the YouTube channel is the new thumbnails. I don't know if people have been noticing, but I started doing thumbnails using ChatGPT, giving it a few ideas of what I'm doing, giving it a few images that are from the video, and then telling it to make me thumbnails. And I'm telling you right now, my click-through rate, so that's the amount of people that click on my video, has actually almost doubled. Now, it's still pretty low. I don't know what's average or what's good for people, but I know I used to be getting around 3.5% of the people that saw my video come up in their feed would actually click on it. And now it's up over 7, almost 8%. So that has went up just by using a little better thumbnails. My content hopefully is getting better. I've been using chat to research stuff and to give me ideas. And so I've been using it just in the YouTube video making process as well. One of the first things that I started doing, and I talked about this in my first video about ChatGPT, and I talked about finding fonts. Now, I've got a strange one here that I was having trouble finding, and I'm telling you, when you need to find a specific font to do a final date for a stone that you didn't do, it is imperative that you get it right. You don't want to be, you see these every now and then. I see them come across on like the Facebook Monument Makers page in different places. And my goodness, it is disappointing when you see that somebody else did not do the work to do it, and it's put in stone and it's done wrong. And that is just not a cool thing. So don't be that guy. Figure out, make sure your fonts are there. If you cannot do it and you can't get it exact, something that I always stress, I will let the customer know and say, hey, I cannot do this. I don't have the font that matches. Now, if they say, well, who else do I go to? What do I do? I can tell them there are other people. You can check with them. Here's what I can do. And then I can show them, here's what it should be. Here's what I can do. And, I can get as close as I can. Sometimes I can find a font that's close. Sometimes I can't, but I can go in and I can hand make certain letters or certain things to get what we need. Go the extra mile, do it right. It's in stone and it's going to be there forever. So keep that in mind. So that's the first thing. And I kind of covered that in my last video about fonts, that I've been using ChatGPT to help me identify fonts and that kind of stuff. So the next photo, the one that I'm looking at here, is of a golf course, and it is a particular hole, and the customers came in, they worked with Dad, and they said, we want to have this hole. It's our favorite hole. We want to have that on the stone. He will still work with this, and he will make some changes and whatnot. But I was able to go within a few prompts. I was able to get to this photo, and it shows it in black and white. I was able to put that directly onto the stone, and so it gave me a very clear picture to be able to show and render that for the customer. So the next project that I was working on that I used chat for was for this. I believe it's called a Can-Am or a Spider. The person came in, and for his wife, she had one of these, and he wanted this on there as a sandblast carving. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. And so prompt one, I put in this stock photo that I had, just hit go. And here's the first image that it gave me. Now, if you look at that, there's a ton of lines, a ton of detail. Did a very good job of doing a line drawing of that object, but it's too much to sandblast for the size that it's going to be. So I gave it a second prompt and I said, make it bolder and a little less detail. And it did this next rendering here. And this was very close, almost ready to go. But looking at the wheels and some of the other spots, there's just still a little more detail than what's going to fit for the size. So I told it, give me even bolder lines and just a little less detail. And this is the image that it gave me. Now, I was able to take this image, put it in the computer in about 20 minutes. I was able to have a blastable design, and that would have taken me hours, maybe over a day's worth of work. It's amazing how long it takes. The next one that I was working on was last week at our county fair. He serves root beer out of this truck, and it is a staple of the fair. Some of the best root beer I've ever had in my life. But he wants that truck put on the headstone. So I put it into chat, said, I want this image for the headstone, and it gave me this image, which was more of a more of an etched image, but was not what we were going for. So I told it, no, I want a line drawing, and it gave me this. Again, it was getting better, getting closer, but still not quite the right amount of detail and stuff. I did laugh. If you look, it's got Canadian flags up there. And if we go back and look at the original image, it's just flags with red and white stripes on it. But for some reason, chat thought that it was Canadian flags. So I did finally get that taken out. But it took me a couple images before I even caught it. So this was the next one, and this is more close ready. Very close to ready, but not quite. Still need a little less detail. All those little words and stuff, it won't blast. It won't show up. So I gave it another prompt, told it to give me a little less detail and bolder lines, and then I ended up with this image here, and that really worked well and was a beautiful image. Now, I was also working at the same time and trying to get this stone rendered, and it was a double heart stone that this gentleman was looking at. And so I ended up with this. So you can see the image. I took it in, put it into my program, and here is a screenshot of it. And here's one of the coolest things. When I finished everything, I got it all kind of put on there. Now, I worked many prompts to be able to get this, but once I kind of got it to where I wanted it, I was able to pretty much tell chat that from this image here, I want to take it and make it look like a headstone. And I was able to give him a rendering of what it's going to look like that looked like the finished stone. Now, that's not exactly perfect. If you look at the last name, those letters look to be almost V-sunk and painted rather than a skin frost outline, but it shows the idea. And the rest shows pretty good, the sandblasted lines and how it's really going to look. And to be able to go from this image here and then be able to go and then deliver this image to show them what it's going to look like, that is a game changer for me. I have wanted to be able to do that. I know there's some softwares that do it, but I'd never had access to them. And chat is $20 a month. Most of these projects now, these are all in the last like week and a half. So I've been using a bunch for a lot of different stuff. The next thing was there was a lady that gave me some prompts of what she wanted. And she basically, I had done a couple markers for others in her family. And she basically said, I think I want to work on my stone now. It's going to be a small marker. I want palm trees and water, and I want a cross, and I would like a paw print of my cat. And so she wanted a few different things, and this is what I ended up with. And that was pretty much one prompt, just saying the different things that she wanted. I actually took her text that she sent me, copied it, pasted it into chat, and chat did this up. It did have spot for names and all that kind of stuff, but I was able to take it into my program and make this blastable artwork within minutes. It really did not take a lot of time, and that was really nice. Another thing, when Dad is doing the etchings on headstones, he often gets a photograph like this, and they say, "Can you etch that?" We say yes, and I can take that photograph, I can put it on the rendering, on the headstone rendering, and then they can sign off on it. But then Dad has to draw and deliver on that. And one thing, I've been able to do it and render it better with a much more accurate, using, like I showed you from that first one with the golf course. But in this case, when it's a truck like that, he really wants to make sure he gets the dimensions correct and gets everything pretty well lined up. And so he likes to have an image to trace, but I couldn't print anything this big. So I ended up taking this image of the truck, putting it into chat, and telling it I wanted just the simple outline of it, which ended up getting me from this image. Then I did a little more simple, got me to this image. Dad took this, and with our plotter that we would normally use for cutting the rubber, he was able to put this on, and he was able to draw it on a piece of paper. He was able to take that on and then trace his hard outlines for his hand etching. So there's just so many other things. Another one I'll show you here. We actually had a pretty crazy thing happen at the fair this week. The stone, he worked on that stone, that truck one there. He did that, and that was all great, and it went out. It's already been set at the cemetery, and that turned out fantastic. But we had another stone that he brought down that he was going to start working on, and it was just a blank stone, and he was going to put the artwork on, and then we're going to put the lettering on later. And so Dad started working on it little by little here, and then he turned away, and when he turned back around, there was a kid there holding his etching device, picks it up, and the kid had scratched his initials onto the stone. Well, that's not good. Then the next day, Dad had taken his stuff, put it away, back out of the way. Somebody had went into our booth, took out Dad's tools, took them, plugged them in, and then started etching onto the stone and left it marred and looking pretty rough. This is what it looked like. Just had scratched a really rough cabin in there, and it just looked really pretty terrible. And I was kind of like, well, I think this stone is shot, because I already got the initials on the one spot. Now it's got this cabin that's kind of janky and weird on the other. So this might just be a throwaway piece. I don't know. Maybe we'll just steal the stone, sell it as a steeled stone. I don't know, as kind of crazy at a loss. And then I was like, I could put it into chat and then tell them to make a cabin around what's already kind of there. And this is the image they gave me. Now, that's not the greatest cabin you've ever seen, and it is a little bit wonky and a little bit funny, but that is a doable image, and Dad should be able to etch that on there very, very close to like that is. And I think it will work really good and be really neat. So these are just a few of the different projects that I have used chat for in the last little bit. I'm not getting paid to say that I love chat. I've been using it. It is making me better at my job. It's making me faster at what I do, and it's making me be able to deliver better renderings for my customers so they can visualize what it's actually going to look like in the end. Being able to take and give an image like this to a customer without even having to do that much extra work. Literally, it takes me an extra like 3 minutes to go from this and to go to that. Really only took a little bit of time. It took me a bit of time to learn how to prompt it properly, but really it just was a matter of trial and error. You can do that as well. I think it's only going to get better, and it's only making me better at my job. That's the big thing. I don't want it to replace me. I mean, I guess kind of that'd be great if I could just have a computer do everything, but no, we want that personal touch. I am 38 years old. In another couple weeks I turned 38, and I have been doing this and helping Dad since I was literally 6 years old, pushing monuments around, but really actively working in the shop since I was like 12. I have a lot of experience working on headstones, working on monuments, and that makes me be able to use this tool to its fullest. If I didn't know anything about monuments, it would be helpful, but I think I'm able to get good results because I'm a professional, because I'm good at what I do. So I don't see it as a threat. I see it as a way forward. I see it as a way to improve and a way to be better at my job. And I think you can be too. You know, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was educational, entertaining. That is always my goal, to do that. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. We are over 4,300 subscribers and still climbing, heading towards that 10,000. I know it's going to take some time, but it's not going to be long. We're going to be halfway there. So we will see you all next time.